Hello, everyone, from Mombasa, Kenya, where PwC is currently having its Africa Tax Policy and Business Symposium. My name is Mandy, and I'm the Africa Tax Policy Leader for PwC. We are joined today by Rashamuse, who is the Tax Leader for PwC Africa's South Market area. And we're going to talk about some of the recent developments from a policy perspective in South Africa.
Hello, Carl.
Great to have you here today. The carbon tax didn't really catch anyone by surprise. It was expected. But there was another development which did catch business by surprise, and that related to the hybrid equity instruments. Do you just want to talk us through what is a hybrid equity instrument in the South African context, and why is it so important from a financing perspective?
So a hybrid equity instrument is basically shares, but that have debt-like features. So in South Africa, we actually see preference shares used mostly as funding instruments. And they use this because, they provide tax-efficient funding structures, but also unique to South Africa as well. They actually provide and deliver economic participation without that immediate cash burden for empowerment transactions. So they are quite attractive to use as funding instruments.
Okay, so what was it that National Treasury was proposing to change, and what impact was that actually going to have? How did business respond? What was the ultimate outcome, and what should business be doing, even more importantly, going forward to actually monitor the situation and respond to it?
So previously we had these anti-avoidance provisions within the Income Tax Act where essentially if you had preference shares which were redeemed within 3 years, they would be classified as debt. So the income flowing from that would then be taxable. However, if it was beyond 3 years, then it becomes exempt income, which obviously is a benefit. However, so what National Treasury was looking to do was to remove that 3-year requirement, and also to mean that, if that instrument is classified as a financial liability from an IFRS perspective, from a tax perspective as well, it then becomes a financial liability. So it becomes debt, and the income flowing from that also becomes taxable. So you can imagine, you've got this instruments that, it's billions and billions of income, which is exempt income. And then all of a sudden, it now needs to be taxed. You can imagine what significant cash flow impact it has. So that's why it sent shockwaves and also a lot of uncertainty as well, because now funding institutions are thinking, do we need to pause on entering into new transactions? What does this mean for older transactions as well? So that uncertainty just wasn't good for business, but we're quite thankful that, that has now been withdrawn. So National Treasury has committed to having robust discussions with all the stakeholders that are affected so that, they can see, what they come up with. And I think just for businesses as well, it's for them to really be involved in those engagements. They really do need to come to the party where National Treasury wants to have the discussions, to engage with them, but also maybe just to start thinking and, speak with the advisors as well, to start looking at, maybe what are the other funding structures that
Absolutely.
they can look into.
Yeah, because the risk hasn't completely gone away, and we don't know what it's going to look like ultimately, do we?
No, definitely. It's just been paused. They're just going to relook at it, but I think it is going to come. So they need to think about what are the other possibilities in terms of funding structures.
That's great. Yeah. Great. It's been great talking to you, Mbai. And well, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to talking to you again. And please stay up to date with what's happening on the tax policy developments side of things.